Well, hello. I am DBJ, and welcome to Third Pillar Thursdays. Let me begin by telling you what this is all about if you have not noticed in the thumbnail. This is about third pillar thoughts, the third pillar of exploration in role-playing games, with combat and social interactions making up the first and second pillar. But as a your very self-appointed third pillarist, I am here to use and abuse and utilize that underutilized element of gaming, which is the environment, the exploration, how to make the environment itself almost a third element in your game and make things dynamic and interesting. So today, let's get into it. We're going to talk about the wooded hill. A wooded hill, a steep incline, maybe rocky, soft earth, the roots of trees as they grow up the hill, maybe most notably seen by many people in, I believe, the first Lord of the Rings movie where the Uruk-hai are attacking the group and the the party is running from them. The hobbits run down an incline and hide underneath a rocky ledge, hiding from the ring wraiths and such. So the wooded hill. How can we use this in our role-playing games, in our setting effectively? Well, a wooded hill, let's start to use some of the rules, would be difficult terrain, right? A little hard to climb up and down safely without harming yourself. But you can add in an extra element by making it more difficult to go uphill than it would to be coming downhill. Now, the very easiest thing to do would be to adjust the DC, the difficulty. So let's say going up is a DC of like 12, coming down is 10, or going up based on how steep the incline is. It may need one, or you may actually need to use both hands. Could be as high as a DC of 15 or 18, and coming downhill, maybe decrease the DC by 3 to 5. You could also use advantage, disadvantage. So for example, going laterally, going across the hill could be a simple DC, maybe a 10 to 12. Going uphill, there's disadvantage, and coming downhill, you may have advantage. But there's other things involved in this. What happens if someone fails an athletics check or climbing check to go up or down or across this wooded hill? What effects happen? Now, you can use a variable success rate. So instead of just pass, fail, okay, you made it, you didn't make it. You could say, well, if you fail it, but you only fail within a few points, like 1 to 4 points, then you don't really go anywhere. You just don't move, right? You go to climb up the hill, your foot slips, you're basically stuck back in the same position you were. Maybe if you fail it by 5 or more, you actually slide downhill. You could roll a D4, multiply it by 10. So you slide from like 10 to 40 feet downhill. And now you're like 2 steps forward, 1 step back, or maybe 1 step forward, 2 steps back, based on how far you slide back beyond your own movement rates, right? Then you can also have critical failures where, hey, you fall prone and you slide downhill. So now you got to do the whole thing, whatever. And then if you have critical failures, you can drop items. Things could be dropped out of hand, like being disarmed. You drop a weapon, maybe something slide out of a pack, anything like that. Now let's get into narrative elements, because I'm a narrative individual myself, and I love giving the environment allows you as the game master and dungeon master to place the hazards and the risks that they take in your players' hands. It's like a puzzle, right? They have to figure out how they're going to navigate it, and you don't need the answer to this, right? The hill, this wooded hill, also acts as a trap, air quotes, because this is a difficult location for them to transverse, and harm can befall them if they are not careful, just like any spring trap or a pit trap or anything like that. Collapsing ceiling trap doesn't matter. This can also be a lair because if you have creatures that live in these wooded hills and that are used to going through these wooded hills, like gorillas, like giant spiders, creatures that have climbing rates, they would love to live in a wooded hill because they know that all of their prey has a much harder time navigating this area, whether that prey is deer or rabbits, or even sentient creatures like goblinoids and your party members. But let's get back to what I brought up about narrative elements. Now, one of the things that players will probably want to do is, well, instead of me sliding up and down a hill, I'm going to use a handhold, like one of the tree branches, or wedge my body up against a tree. My answer is hell yeah, go for it, right? So you can allow, if the trees are big enough, you can say, well, the trees are just saplings, they're not really cover, but they will prevent you from falling. And then you can add in a limitation. Hey, you can negate the ability to slide downhill, but you must hold on with one hand. Is that much of a limitation? Yes, but no, but maybe. So let's think about it. Player character has a shield and a sword. Which other hand are they going to hold on with? Player character has a magic staff and spell components in their hand. What other hand are they going to hold on with? Player character has a holy symbol and their religious weapon in hand. What other hand are they going to hold with? They're going to have to make that decision. And therefore, the environment also allows the game master, gives the game master the tool to place resource depletion square in the hands of the players. Okay, so for example, the wizard player character has a staff with magic staff. They've got their arcane focus in hand, but maybe they cannot then use their other hand to reach in for spell components. They want to hold on to a tree because they do not want to get knocked down by rocks being thrown by hill giants, right? So maybe they are now limited to only using spells with verbal and or somatic components. Although if they have to use, they've got a staff in one hand, somatic components in the other. See, there's another difficulty. I didn't even think about that, right? So here's the deal. Using the environment helps you help them, make them create memorable moments. I don't even know if that even made any sense, but let's add some more stuff to this wooded hill, right? So if anything is launched or thrown or dropped, there's a good chance it's going to roll downhill. Will it strike another tree and stop in its motion? Sure. So let's say the wooded hill is 100 feet tall. You roll a d4, multiply it by 10. So from 10 to 40 feet, something slides down. Player character drops, makes a critical fumble, drops a sword. It slides 30 feet downhill. What are you going to do? Are you going to go travel back downhill, grab the sword, then travel back up the hill? It's all in your player's hands, right? Also, splash weapons. You throw, I want to make a Molotov cocktail. I want to, light oil and throw it uphill at the enemy. And it splashes and the oil starts to roll back downhill. Same thing goes with other solid objects, including the Goliath that likes to throw the halfling in a fastball special. Hey, halfling's going to have to hold on or roll back downhill. Same thing will happen with enemies that are down or struck, right? So you could have a situation where anyone that suffers damage has to make some sort of roll, constitution roll, maybe strength roll to hold on, dexterity save. When I say roll, this could be a saving throw to prevent being knocked from your perch to slide downhill. The DC could be the damage taken. DC could be half the damage taken, or it could be just a flat DC. You have a DC 12, make a saving throw against a DC 12 with your dex or strength, or a constitution. You could pick 1, 2, or all 3 based on your setting, your table. And if you fail, you fall prone and slide downhill. Roll a D4, right? Also, someone can purposefully strike someone to knock them downhill. So in the game, we do have the knock down or knock back option. So instead of doing damage, you do a strength versus strength check. Both people roll their strength plus or minus their mods. Whoever wins gets pushed 5 feet or whatever, or gets knocked prone. The same thing could be done on a wooded hill. And game masters, dungeon masters, open your mind a little bit if a player character says, I'm going to throw my spear to hit the orc chieftain so that he slides downhill, maybe instead of applying the damage, what they're trying to do is a knockdown function. So really, you could use ranged attacks and apply that knockdown function if you want in any order that you wish. It's I will be doing these third pillar posts on Thursdays. Is I'm throwing all of these things out at you. You do not need to use any or all of them. You could take one function, two of them, three or more. And let's add a couple of more elements to this wooded hill. We could add some rain. Either it's currently raining or it had rained, it turned it muddy, thereby maybe increasing the DC by +5 to everything, making it slick. Maybe a player character uses a grease spell, which may suck trying to climb up the hill. Or it may work on the enemies and they come sliding downhill right in front of you. Not only they slide downhill, they fall prone, boom, you strike them, damn, dead, right? We could add fog, making it difficult to see. We can add thunderstorms or high winds, making it hard to hold on. All these things. Guys, believe me, use the environment, the third pillar. So I am DBJ. I am your self-appointed third pillarist. Please go to DriveThruRPG or join our Facebook group at Critical Hit Publishing. My series that I have contributed to write, which is the Cinematic Environs. I'm going to reach to my side and even pull one of my books up. Cinematic Environs. Check it out. This one is called Blasted Lands. There are 7 so far, more on the way. They are all about using the environment. This first series is about using the natural environment. Interspersed inside are like magical environments and man-made environments, maybe ruins and rope bridges, airships and all kinds of things. So use the environment, reskin some of those traps or elements you have in your game, use some spell effects to substitute for some natural environmental hazards. But please use the environment, add a little spice in the beginning if your players aren't used to it. Eventually this will become a new muscle that you'll get to turn and twist and use in your games, and allow you to use these aspects, like the game Fate, where you have aspects in your game, whether it's a wooded hill, muddy bank, raging rivers, tundra and snow, whether it's sand and deserts or anything like that, right? Fog and rain and thunderstorms and hurricanes, tornadoes, earthquakes, broken land, all those things are absolutely useful. All of them represent different hazards. All of them require exercising a different muscle by you as the DM or GM and by your players. And by all means, layer on top of that some combat encounters, and man, you will have some dynamic interactions. So anyway, I'm DBJ, your self-appointed third pillarist. Thanks for deep diving with me. Thanks for patronizing me. Like, share, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications. Make comments below. What kind of hazards would you have in a wooded hill? What can you imagine happening there? What creatures would you use? Would you even bother using this with your players? Does this seem a little too complicated for you? Am I throwing too much out at you? Please comment below. I really want these series to go on, and I'd love for some interaction with you guys. So anyway, thank you very much. And thank you for your attention. It's very valuable of your time, so I appreciate it greatly. Have a good day, evening, and night.